Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Doesn't come naturally now. Leylu nishmas mirosi rusbas Mordechai Hayoim Arboim Yoim Shehem Shisha Shavuos ve Shnei Yamim Ba'omer. Sponsored by Yochanan Itzkowitz. I believe Yochanan is the one that came up with keep up first, catch up later. Mashu kazeh. Yeah? Or first keep up, then catch up. He didn't say it like that. In memory of my father's 50th Yartzeit on the 28th of Iyar, and my mother's first Yartzeit on the 29th of Iyar. Reb Neftalli ben Reb Yehuda Shmuel za'ldא Rivka bas Reb Baruch Shalom. By Moshe Zupnick, Leah bas Rav Yosef Halevi Shalom. Big happy birthday wishes to Yakov, Jack Wahrman from Flatbush, a daily Zoom participant. Should be GEZUNT and have much continued nachas from his children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren from your MDY Chaverim, Mordechai Aschkenasy and Shmuli Bernhaut. Today's shir is sponsored for some of the Chavrei Hashiur that can use chizuk from Mordechai Aschkenasy. Today's shir, okay, says Mordechai Aschkenasy, I know some and suspect some need chizuk. Nonetheless, they're in the base measures or on Zoom every day with a smile and sticking to the learning. Our hearts go out to you, and we want only the best for you. Exclusively learning Kiddush Hashem, they should all see Yeshua's Bekarov. Amen. So when we look across the table or next Zoom box, we should be cognizant of our brothers and friends and offer a kind word, some light humor, which we do. We don't know the peckle someone is carrying, and how those kind words can make a big difference in their day. MDY has become a pillar of light. You're up in a second. He says your name here. Get ready. MDY has become a pillar of light and shown Klal Yisrael how to exemplify Torah, Avodah, and Gemilus Chasadim. It's a privilege to be part of this wonderful family. May it bring the Geula Shlema Bekarov. Surely Nachman Seltzer knows the song Unity from Mordechai ben David. Listen, brother, listen, friend. Just enough. Okay, you go. Go. Here we go. I didn't ask you for the whole intro with the drums and everything. Just go. Give me the high part.
So listen, brother.
Listen, friend. Just a little smile, a helping hand. Kind and unity. We must teach the children to treat your fellow friend like they were you. You're the only guy that knows the song? Shvach, cut, let's do this again. And now, Nachman sing. Okay, fine. Next. Rabbi Sai, I want you all to know that we're all very healthy here. We had a little scare yesterday. People asked, there were missiles in Bet Shemesh? Yes, no. So I'm here to tell you that missiles were in Bet Shemesh. In fact, just 2 minutes away from here, from MDY, my sister lives 2 minutes away, and she gave me this. I'm not kidding you. There's a piece of a missile that fell on her porch. See this? Unbelievable. Huh? It could be, but it says Allah Akbar right over here. I don't know. He said it's from the Iron Dome. I don't know. It's much better when it's the real thing. The Israelis make it out of titanium, whatever. This is like sharp as anything. You can't even believe. This is unbelievable. Yeah, this is made in China. This is from Dr. Shamroth. Dear Belly, a few weeks ago, by the way, we have Choshev guests here today. We have Reb Yakov Rosner. I want to give you something, Reb Yakov. I carry this with me. I'm waiting for the day that you come. You have to wear this proud. On the way here, I saw Judah David wearing one of these. I said, it's like 105 degrees outside. What are you doing? He's like, I'm going to wear it the entire summer. This is my bikers, but only the Jewish version. So here, Yishkoyach, Reb Yakov, and we have Zevi Shupper here in house. Unbelievable, Yishkoyach. All the way from, both of them from Yerushalayim. A few weeks ago, this is from Dr. Shamroth. A man and his 4 sons came into Muchedet clinic to see me. They all had smirks on their face. Then as they approached my desk, they all yelled out in unison, "Good morning, Rabbi Sai." No, I replied. You've got it wrong. It should be, "Good morning, Rabbi Sai." Then the four kids then launched into an outburst of Geschmack, have a wonderful day, and so on. We all had a good laugh. It turned out that this is the Cantor family from Arzei Abira. The father has been on Zoom since Psachim, and he had seen me on Zoom. So are they coming to the Kotel? Anybody? Did they sign up? By the way, today's the last day to sign up. We're going to the Kotel as long as it's nice and safe. We'll see. We'll play it by ear. Clearly, his four kids must have also been regular watchers since their rendition of the was perfect. Being about 5 to 8 years old, they are possibly the youngest participants on the Daf. Keep up the good work, Dr. Shamroth. Do we have more time? I don't know what time it is. Yeah. Who? Hey, Jamie. Shalom Aleichem. Well, let me see the other hand. What's going on? Oh, wow. Refuah Shleima, Jamie. Why? Okay, looks serious. This is from Good morning, Rebelli. I haven't missed an email or a Motzi Shabbos Maisa since the beginning of Psachim. I want to know if I'm considered part of MDY. I go to the in-person shir normally, anonymously, 14-year-old Bacher. Erase that first part. He's anonymous. I really didn't realize. Okay, fine. We're not going to say your name. No, actually. Next. What? Erase that as well. Okay. Yeah, sometimes we do. You don't know how much work you give Yosef Bilyak. Yosef Bilyak is working after shir like crazy. From Warren Carlos, I just want to say this real quickly because he sent this a while ago. I'm scared he's going to be back. He says, checking in from my vacation in South Africa, and more especially from a safari in a place called Buckenbang Game Lodge in Pilensburg. Game reserve 2 hours out of Johannesburg. We went on a great game drive this afternoon, but pales in comparison to the MDY Daf Shir, which I'm learning at 11 p.m. after a long day. You see the famous cats, lion, cheetah, leopards, pretty lucky in the game reserve, but your shir's guarantee to have so many amazing things, namely Torah, Ashkaf, Halacha, which excites me a lot more than game drive. However, don't get me wrong, I do love game drives. Mishnah Pirkei Avos. This is how we feel about the shirs. Warren Carlos, Ishkoyach, enjoy, come back soon. So today's Daf Lamed, we're holding 4 lines down. Omer Rav Papa. I didn't mention halacha yesterday, but okay, we'll see if we have time after shir. Omer Rav Papa. Soya b'mkoima. We're talking about a person who relieves himself in the bathroom, doilim, and there's waste, b'mkoima, in the opening, where it originates in the body. We're going to see that is the most vile place in the body, obviously, and it has a different halacha. Asur likrois kriyas shma. So a person has a little bit of tsoya, he can't say kriyas shma. Halacha l'maisa, a little bit of tsoya, also to say kriyas shma. Hey chidami, what's the case? If it's very visible, pshita, of course. Anytime you could see tsoya, even if it's in front of you, also to say kriyas shma. Let's say it's inside the body, in the opening, close to the exit. Why would you be chayiv to clean? The Torah wasn't given to malachim. We had in the beginning of the Masechta with Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu was able to clean out his body so he could be like a malach without any waste. Malachim don't have waste. Humans do have waste. If he sits down, it's visible. If he stands up, it conceals itself and you don't see it. And nevertheless, the halacha is it's also to say Kriya Shema because if you're sitting, you'll see it, then it's also. Ask the Gemara, if a person has a little dot of waste on his hand, let's say, so we're talking about tsoya on his hand, but it's covered, even covered with clothing. Or let's say there's a hole in the bathroom. He sticks his hand through the hole. His whole body's outside of the bathroom. A Beis HaKisei of those days. He sticks his hand in. Ravuna Omar mutar likrois kriya shma. Rav Chizda Omar osur likrois kriya shma. Rav Chizda says that it's also to say kriya shma in this case. Now, if we go step by step here, Rav Huna says mutar likrois kriya shma. What does Rav Papa say? if this tsoya b'mkoima, also to say Kriya Shema. Over here you have tsoya on his basar, and it's mutter to say Kriya Shema. He has a little piece of waste on his hand. Mutter to say, why? Because it's covered with his, obviously if he could see it, it's asur. He can't see it. He has a shirt sleeve covering it. So according to Rav Huna, you're allowed to say Kriya Shema. You can't see it. That doesn't work well with Rav Papa. Rav Papa says that it's also to say Kriya Shema. If somebody has tsoya by his opening, it's also. Also like Kriya Shema. What does Rav Chizda say? Rav Chizda says, also likros Kriya Shema. It's also to say Kriya Shema if he has a piece of waste on his hand. Now, in order to understand Rav Chizda and Rav Huna, let's just do this for a second. By the way, real quickly, I keep on not forgetting, I ran out of time. This is our in-house mashgiach, Rabbi Avram Weisfish from Manchester. They sent a beautiful picture. First of all, the first picture is Roish and Pader. This is the other sugya. We're going back. What did I say? I'm sorry. In-house shoichet. In-house shoichet. That's what I meant. But I said, what? It is labeled. What are you talking about? Imam, you're not listening. Here, look. You see the yellow thing here? It says Roish. Okay, now you take the Pader, you take that blanket, and you wrap up the head nicely. He looks a little sad in this picture compared to this one. I'm not sure why. He's focused. He's focused. Okay. Baruch Hashem, he sent another picture for the next sugya. Beautiful stuff. I'll go upon him. Here's what's going on here. We're very familiar with this pasuk, but if you think about it, this pasuk, Kol Haneshama Tahalal Ka. Rav Huna is saying that tefillah comes from the neshama. And when the neshama, what's the neshama? The organs that breathe, the nose and the mouth. So if there's waste right in his nose, right in his mouth, that's a problem. But if the waste is somewhere else, on his hand, somewhere else on his body, not a problem. That's Rav Huna. Rav Chizda is of the opinion of Kol Atzmoisai Trimarna Hashem Micha Moicha. All my bones are going to say, who's like you, Hashem? So every part of the body is part of tefillah. Your hand is also part of tefillah. Kol Atzmoisai Trimarna. So if you have a piece of waste on your hand, it's a no-no. Why is that? According to Rashi, it's also a kasha from this mandamar, from Rav Chizda, on Rav Papa. Why? Because Kol Atzmoisai means all my bones, but it seems like if it's in its natural place, the opening, it shouldn't be a problem according to Rav Chizda. But according to Rav Papa, it's a problem. So according to Rashi, Rav Papa doesn't go well, not with Rav Huna, not with Rav Chizda, in the question of the Gemara. Says the Gemara, B'mikoima nofish zuama. Says the Gemara, Chiddush. It's not such a big Chiddush if you think about it. Don't think about it, actually. In the opening of the body, where it comes, where it originates, it's terribly vile, it's terrible. The odor, the whole thing. So Memela, that's very different than the whole body. Everybody will agree. Rav Huna will agree. Even Rav Huna, who says that if you have a piece of tsoya on your hand, it's not a problem, you can say Kriya Shema. B'mkoimai, if you didn't clean properly, then you cannot say Kriya Shema. Well, it's not so much the smell. It's the piece that smells. Stam smell, stam reich is nothing. If it originates from a solid piece, that's a problem. We do talk about smell. You're right. There is a thing about smell. It's hotter. The Rashi goes into it that but it's the source. It's still moist. It's still hot. We're not going to get into it. So once we're here, I want to say something very, very, very important that I'm like Avi Kamiansky. I don't want to stick you into this conversation, but there are people that when they have a chiddush, I said this a few times about Avi. Here's like about a sale somewhere. Make sure that everybody knows about it. There's a good piece of steak. He tells her. There's a tremendous chiddush in this department that I learned years ago. I like to share with people. My wife gets very mad at me, but now I can use this as halacha l'maisa. Seriously, halacha l'maisa. This might put me in a different category. People might leave the shir. I don't care. I got to share this with the Olam. There's something very important. Okay, I won't. It's called a bidet. Rabbi Yosef, seriously. This will change your life halachically. I'm not joking. If you go to Letterman Shul, they have this. It only costs $25 or less. And every hardware store sells this. It takes 20 minutes to put into your toilet. It's 2 screws. Lift up the toilet seat, put it down. Water is the way to go. I'm serious. I'm not joking. La halacha, hygienically speaking, halachically speaking. Okay, I said it. I embarrassed myself. And now we can move on. Rabbi Isai, you could send me emails about it, but whatever, without pictures, please. La halacha l'mais. Here we go. I'm not joking. You're going to thank me. If you try it, you are going to thank me. Why? Because if the waste, soya, that's seen and visible on any aver, even on your hand, if you could see it, even according to Rav Huna, the most mekel Allah, if you see it, it's not covered with your sleeve, you can't say Kriya Shema. Also Kriya Shema. If it's covered, but you don't see it, if it's on your body, but it's covered, let's say with the clothing, so according to Rav Chizda, it's also to say Kriya Shema, and according to Rav Huna, it's mutter to say Kriya Shema. So you have a machlokes. But bimkaimai, and that's why I told you about the bidet, bimkaimai, if there's a little piece that's there, bimkaimai, it's also to say Kriya Shema. Halacha l'maisa. End the story. Bimkaimai l'kula alma is also. Even according to Rav Huna, it would be also to say Kriya Shema. Now, if it's inside the body, we're not malachim. We don't have to go cleaning inside, even though it's right by the surface, whatever. You don't have to. Okay. This is the maisa. Who? We need installed here in MDY. Correct. I think we're discouraging people from using that. Whatever. Okay. By the way, okay, I'm not going to go there. It's a good thing my wife just left the country. She won't find out about this for a while. All right. Zok the Gemara. Toner Rabbana. Okay, so we finished with that sugya. I think we said it. Fine. Toner Rabbanon. Halacha b'suda. There's a lot of schmoozing here. What is going on? This guy lost it. He's every day it's worse and worse. Leon, it's okay. I got it. You don't have to send me any messages about the Mishigat. And it's not a classic. I know it's not a classic. Shkoyach. I want to tell you halacha b'negea to suda. Adam yoytzel lahashtin mayim. Person goes out to relieve himself ketanim. Noitel yodai achas v'nichnas. What does that mean? He only has to wash one hand. What happened to why one hand? Why not 2 hands? Because as we said yesterday, mitzvah l'shavshev. It's a mitzvah to remove any drops. Memela what? Therefore, he has to use one hand, and that one hand is dirty. So you got to wash that one hand. You're in the middle of a meal. Now, according to the Rambam, you'd say, okay, it's this halacha is because he touched something dirty, he has to wash his hand. According to the Rambam, if a person goes, he's matal mayim, he has to do kiddush yadayim v'raglayim in the Beis Hamikdash. Nothing to do with touching or not. Even if he didn't touch, he's still chayav. The Rebbe Tam says over here that since it's a mitzvah to be mishavshav, you don't need to do netilas yadayim unless you do shivshav. In other words, the whole point of netilas yadayim is because you touch something. But he says, according to the Rebbeinu Tam, you don't have to make al netilas yadayim on it, even though it's for cleaning, and you don't have to make asher yotzar on ketanim. And the Ritva says you do. You ever thought about it? We say asher yotzar. The Rebbeinu Tam says you don't have to. Okay, weiter. Diber im chaveiroi v'hiflig. I think it just means he didn't even go to the bathroom. He went outside and he started schmoozing with his friend for a very long time. So that's called, in halacha, that's called hesach hadas. He wasn't paying attention. He washed his hands at 12 o'clock. Now it's 2 o'clock and he forgot what he was doing. It's very possible that what? He touched a makim mechusa and therefore he has to wash his hands again. Now he has to wash both of his hands. And if he washes his hands, don't do it outside. Do it in berabim. So here, once again, you see this idea of... Here, give me this Gemara for a second. You want? So, Nachamal, it's the same. We started the Amud with Chashad. You have a little drop, somebody might think this, somebody might think that. What happened? I took somebody else's Gemara? It's fine. Okay. Chashad. Again, people, you see this, it's a Yisrael in life. You have to always be concerned what other people are thinking of you. Don't say to yourself, the guy's crazy, it's none of his business. Wash your hands in front of him so he doesn't think that you're a pig and you came back from the bathroom and you didn't wash your hands. As I state, if you go into the room, you wash your hands in front of everybody. Not only that, and you take that kli that you wash with and you say, does anybody else need? You know nobody else needs to wash their hands, but you say it aloud so they realize that you just wash your hands. This idea that you have to wash inside, not outside, is when you're coming to drink after the Suda. But if you're eating, nobody's going to think that you're going to put your hands on the bread and after you just went to the bathroom. Everybody knows you wash your hands. No, so let me ask you Rashi's kasha. A guy came to drink, whatever he's drinking wine, he has to wash his hands to drink wine? Who washes his hands to drink these days? Says Rashi, because I'm concerned that you might come to eat bread. Because it's part of the Suda. At the end of the meal, when everybody sits around and drinks after they're done eating, you might come and grab a piece of bread. So wash your hands. But to eat, everybody knows the meidi yediyah the anino daite. People know that you're mafunuk. You're going to be careful and not go into the meal and eat without washing your hands. This I once saw. This doesn't apply to some people in England, not from people, not Yidden. Just I forgot the percentage. 75% of the people, they did a research, they went to the airport, they go out of the bathroom, they don't even wash their hands. Says Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak, for me, I'm super sensitive to these things, so I wash my hands. Everybody knows I'm going to wash my hands even when it comes to drinking. All right. That's it. Brand new sugya. Well, I just want to point out here, according to the Magen Avram, it says something very interesting. What about a baby with a dirty diaper, let's say? Are you allowed to say Kriya Shema next to the baby with a dirty diaper? Anybody? What do you say? No, right? Without smelling it. You don't smell it. Without smelling. It doesn't smell at all. So, no, it has one of those diapers that lights up. So the Magen Avram says, based on what we learned, that bimim koimai, if this soya bim koimai, you can't say Kriya Shema, so you can't say Kriya Shema. So the Bar Yeitev says, b'mechila b'chvoidai, I think you made a mistake. Bim koimai is referring to you. Your own body, your bim koimai, not your friend's bim koimai. So what? I can't go to shul because maybe his bim koimai, he doesn't have. None of these people have bidets. Rahman al-San. I can't daven here. That's what they say. Fine. Just thought I'd point it out. Says the Mishnah. I was thinking about bidets. We went to this hotel in Europe. They all have that other bidet. My kid thought it's a water fountain. He's like, says the Mishnah. Ein Adam nichnas lazar la'avoda. What? Oh yeah, the official Mishnah sponsored l'schus hashidduch for Es Dvara Bas Le'Gittel and for Dvara Bas Suri. Ein Adam nichnas lazar la'avoda. I have a riddle. Here's a shiloh, but because I'm asking the question, you're all going to know the answer. What do you think is more chamor, more important, to wash your hands with the kiyar, this, or for the kohen to go into the mikvah, completely immerse himself in the mikvah? Well, misvara, what makes sense? Mikvah, right? That's what I also thought. Wrong. Kiddush Yadayim V'Raglayim is a special halacha. It's even more chamor and chashav than a mikvah. Says the Mishnah that a person should not go into the azara for avoida. Now Rashi points out it's lav dafka avoida. It doesn't mean avoida. It means you can't go into the azara. Now, okay, Others argue. But we go according to Rashi. You cannot go into the Azara. You're coming in here, you're going from here, from the Har Beis, and you have to go to the mikvah. Afilu tar, if you're 100% tar, you know from the last time you went to the mikvah, you did not become tamei. At Yidbal, you must go to the mikvah. Says the Mishnah Chamish Tfilas Vasar Kiddushin Toiva Kohen Gadol Mekadesh Boy Bayayim. On Yom Kippur, the Kohen Gadol went to the mikvah 5 times, 5 different times. Where? The mikvah is right over here in the swimming pool, on Lishkas Aparva, on the top, on the rooftop. Here. Right here. I'm blind now. Just bounced back at me. Not kidding. Vasari Kiddushin. And you do Kiddush Yodayim V'Raglayim. He does this. I mean, this is not the picture of the Kohen Gadol. It's going 10 times. Okay? V'kulan b'kodesh al Beis HaParva, on top, on the roof of Beis HaParva. Chutz mezubel vad, there's only one. The first one you don't need to do in the Beis HaMikdash. Why? In the Beis HaParva, in the Beis HaMikdash. Why? Because it's not for Yom Kippur. This is just anybody that goes into the Azara has to do it. It's nothing to do with the Kohen Gadol Yom Kippur. Says the Mishnah, Perisu Sodin Shel Butz Beinu Levein Ha'am. He was up there on the rooftop. It was not so tznius. So they lifted up a towel, like a sheet made out of linen, to protect him from the tzibur. Says the Gemara, Shalas ben Zayma. Tznius, yeah, that's what I meant. Protect him from the tzibur for tznius. Shalas ben Zayma. They asked ben Zayma, Tvila zu lama. Why does a person have to go to the mikvah when he knows 100% that he's tar? Why does he have to go to the mikvah when he comes into the Beis HaMikdash? Omer lahem. So he says a kavachomer. Now kavachomer, pay attention. Kavachomer is a doraisa. It means it has the strength of something that's in the Torah. Uma hamishana mi kodesh lekodesh. If a person goes from a place that has kedusha to a place that doesn't have kedusha, so the Yishanim says from Gadim that have kedusha. But we're going to according to Rashi. He goes from a place of kedusha to a place not kedusha. Here, he goes, let's say, from Kodesh Kedoshim to over here. He has to change his clothing. He goes from here back in there. He has to change his clothing. He has to be toivel. If you walk into here, into the heichal, bituma yichayv kares, and so if you walk into the Kodesh Kedoshim, bekitzer, you're going from kedusha to kedusha. They're both kadosh. Nevertheless, you have to go into the mikvah. So if you come from outside of the Beis HaMikdash, from over here into here, certainly you should have to go to the mikvah. And it didn't cheton tefillah. You're going from a place that there's no kares. You're allowed to be tamei outside the Beis HaMikdash. Going into the Beis HaMikdash, of course, you have to be toivel. So again, how do I know? Says Ben Zoyma, how do I know that you have to go to the mikvah first thing in the morning on Yom Kippur? I learn it from the middle of the day of Yom Kippur. Let's call it the second tefillah. How do I know the first tefillah has to be done? Because I learned it from the second tefillah that he has to do. And if in the second tefillah, where he's going from the Kodesh Kedoshim to the Heichal, from the Heichal to the Kodesh Kedoshim, he has to do tefillah, certainly the first tefillah also is required. So that's a kavachomer, which has the power of a doraisa. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda Omer. No, it's not a deraisa. This is the Rabbanon. Srach tvilo hizu. This is kedei. It resembles a tefillah kedei she yiskor tuma yishana shebiyadai. We have to remind him. Do you have tuma? You don't have tuma. V'yifroish, and that will make him remember. Sometimes you need an external thing to remind the person. For instance, we use Shmoneh Esrei for that, right? We go to Shmoneh Esrei, and that's where we invent stuff, and remember we have to pay the gas bill, all that sort of stuff. Shmoneh Esrei. They need the mikvah. You go to the mikvah, you say, I remembered I touched a dead person yesterday. There was a maisa. It's not such a great joke. We'll say it anyway, because there's nothing else now. There was a Paretz calls the Jew over, he says, you owe me money. So the Jew comes by, he says, no. He does the whole cheshbon, the Paretz takes out his list, he says, I took, a lot of beer from you, a lot of this, a lot of that, and you owe me X amount of taxes. Wait a minute. Oy, it seems like I owe you money. So the Paris goes, gives him $1,000, and he goes weiter. So the Jew is very worried. It was a mistake. It's a partial mistake. The guy told Sakum. So he goes to the Rebbe. He says, "What should I do? What should I do?" The Rebbe says, "Don't worry about it. You're worried because you have a Shemona Esrei. He doesn't have a Shemona Esrei. He'll never remember that it's a mistake." The Olam laughed, even though it's Shach. Rabbi Victor Miller says, you're allowed to think about HaKadosh Baruch Hu, even during Shemona Esrei. All right, fine. But seriously, you go to the mikvah, and it triggers a machshava. Like, what's the connection? It triggers a machshava. It's like, I'm going to the mikvah. I'm trying to be tar. Ooh, I just remembered I touched a rat yesterday. And then it'll be careful. It's the trigger. All right. Says the Gemara, Daf Lamed, returning to Daf Lamed Amud Beis now. What's the machloikis over here? Sponsored, l'schos shein the Rachel bas Avram Tzvi for shidduch, and a shidduch for Esther Dvara bas Leah Gittel, and a schos shidduch for Dvara bas Suri. And leylu nishmas, the victims of Miron, or for Shlema for the victims of Miron, and a nechama for all the mishpachas. Machloikis is ba'achuli avoida komifligi. Achuli is a lashon of mechalal, to ruin the avoida. Liben Zoima, who says that this is a dorais. I learned it from a kavachomer. It's a dorais. You have to go to the mikvah early in the first thing in the morning, right as you come into the Beis Hamikdash. If you didn't go to the mikvah, machal avoida ruins it. The Rabbi Yehuda, it's a nice thing to remember zikaron, but if you don't remember, if you didn't do the memory aid, you're not going to passel avoida doraisa. A drabanan cannot passel something that's doraisa. Well, ben Zoima mimeichel. What? He says that it ruins the avodah of Atanya. Kohen gadol shaloi toval v'loi kiddush, a kohen gadol that didn't go into the mikvah and didn't wash his hands and his feet with the kiyar. Bein beged lebeged, between changing of the clothes, ubein avodah la'avodah, and between the different avodas. Avoidasoi ksheira, his avodah is kosher. Echad kohen gadol, v'echad kohen hedyot. Shaloi kiddush yoda v'raglav shachris v'ovad avoda avodasoi psula. So listen what's going on here. Number one, it says over here that if you don't wash your hands with the kiyar, no matter what, in the morning, first thing as you come to Beis Hamikdash, you have to wash your hands with the kiyar. If you don't, avoda psula. But the Gemara is asking about the mikvah. Why do I need a mikvah? The whole point of the mikvah, how do I know I have to do the mikvah right when I come to Beis Hamikdash? From the second tefillah. I know the first tefillah from the second tefillah. But the second tefillah is not ma'akev. It says mefurish. If the kohen doesn't go into the mikvah and he did avodah, it's kosher. So how could the first tefillah, which I'm learning from the second tefillah, be worse than the second tefillah? Yeah? Tefillah number one, how do I even know it exists? From tefillah number two. Tefillah number two is not a problem if you don't do tefillah number two. If by mistake the kohen forgot to do tefillah number two, the avodah is not puzzle. So how can you say that tefillah number one, which the whole concept of tefillah number one comes from tefillah number two, should be worse than tefillah number two? It's impossible. So anyway, from here you see this idea that mikvah is not as chashuv as yadayim kiddush yadayim v'raglayim. It says specifically, if you missed mikvah, avodah is kosher. If you missed kiddush yadayim v'raglayim, it's puzzle. You need to do kiddush yadayim v'raglayim in the morning. It's a whole different thing. Yeah, by the way, tefillah, going to the bathroom, it seems like, is not for gedusha, it's for cleanliness. It cleans your body. It's like a serious bidet. All right. Umi islay l'Rabbi Yehuda haisvara. Where am I? Oh. So what's the nafkamina between Ben Zayma and Rabbi Yehuda in terms of, is that tefillah the Raisa, the Rabbanon? Is it for memory or not? According to Ben Zayma, I learned from a kavachomer. So if I don't do that tefillah, I'm over naaseh. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it's just to remind me if I'm tummy or not. I'm not over naaseh. As the Gemara, does Rabbi Yehuda hold they have to go to the mikveh in the morning? First thing in the mikveh? First thing in the morning? We learned in a brayso mitzayra. Oh, so that's it. Right here's the kasha. Mitzayra. Only a mitzayra. Toivel va'omed b'shar nikonar. Here's shar nikonar right over here. Oh, sorry. down here. Thank you. Yeah, I was one. Squared out the stairs here. A lot of stairs, but right over here. Okay, this is Eastern Gate. Shani Connor. A Mitzayra, we know. First, he has to shave his hair, go to the mikvah on the 7th day. Then he comes to the Beis HaMikdash, goes to the mikvah on the 8th day again. And when on the 8th day, he's able to stick his thumb, his right thumb, not the left, in here. He stands by the doorway, doesn't go in, just sticks his thumb in. They put blood on it, shemen. He puts his large toe in there, his ear, his right ear. Great. Rabbi Yehuda So Rabbi Yehuda says is exact opposite. Not you're saying a mitzayra needs to be toivel. I'm telling you, only a mitzayra does not need to be toivel. Why? Shikva tava mi erev. He already did a tefillah on the 7th day before he showed up to the Beis HaMikdash. So he doesn't need another tefillah. Why does he need another tefillah? Shikva tava mi erev. Udikarila ma karila. And what was the Tana even thinking to ask such a question? There's another brayso. Sorry. So, according to Rabbi Yehuda, he already had a tefillah the night before. And what's the point of the tefillah? Why do you have to be told when you come to Beis HaMikdash? To remind you that there's tumah or no tumah. He already did that. He already went to the mikveh at night. He knows he's going to the Beis HaMikdash tomorrow, so he remembers if he has tumah or not. So there's no need for him to go to the mikveh. So what was your question with karla makarla? Because I have another brayso that's a problem. Lishkas hamitzarayim. Here, right over here. You can't really see it. Where is it? Oh yeah, here you could see. Could you see it over here? Safa Ma'ariv, right here. Okay, you're almost in the fine. That's where it is. This is exactly what it looks like in real life. And there's a nice mikvah in the center. Now the question is, why is it called Lishkas HaMitzrayim? Shisha Mitzrayim Toivlim. Usually that's where the Mitzrayim Toivl. Rabbi Doimer, La Mitzrayim Belvad Amru. Not only a Mitzayra, Ela Kol Adam. Ooh, this is a big, big problem. We just said, according to Rabbi Yehuda, Mitzayra doesn't have to be Toivel. Mitzayra doesn't do Tefillah. We gave a whole cheshbon why he doesn't have to do Tefillah, because if it's from memory, he already did it last night, he doesn't have to remember. And what does he say over here? Not only every person has to be not only a Mitzayra has to be Toivel, but every human being should be Toivel. In other words, a Mitzayra does have to be Toivel. Like Asher. Had the Tovel, had the Lay Tovel. Okay, Rabbi Yehuda agrees that if a person forgot to go to the mikvah on the 7th day and he shows up to the Beis HaMikdash on his 8th day, so then he does have to go to the mikvah. As the Gemara, that doesn't make any sense. What about the sun going down on him? He can't do anything. If he went to the mikvah on the 7th day and this erev shemesh, the sun went down, great, now he can show up at the Beis HaMikdash. He just has to go one more time now on the 8th day and then he can do the whole process and the shaving again and the fingers and everything. But he didn't go to the mikvah at all. So you need erev shemesh. You're right. It's a great kasha. So we have to take that back. Both of the cases, both of the brises. Again, in one brise, Rabbi Yehuda says a mitzvah doesn't go to the mikvah. The other brise says a mitzvah does go to the mikvah. Both of them are talking about he went to the mikvah on the 7th. What's the difference between the two brises? When he was behaving himself and he remembered what he was doing, he didn't have hesach hadas. He was thinking about everything, so he was careful. Careful, doesn't have to go to the mikvah on the 8th day. But if he forgot about what he was doing, he's Masiach Das, so he has to go. Even Rabbi Yehuda agrees, he has to go to the mikvah again. So there's a very interesting, how's this negiyah to us? L'maisa, today, Hayom Hazeh, in Ramat Shemesh in New York, what? You locked him in there again? Negiyah l'maisa, if a person is Masiach Das, it happens unfortunately to a lot of people, on Friday night. Friday night, go to the couch. Go to the couch, take a little Dremel. It's called the Sheinas Arai. It's a little under a half hour, not a problem. A lot of people do it. Fall asleep for 25 minutes, 30 minutes. Now what? You have to wash your hands. You're in the middle of the Suda, wash your hands. No, what do you say? Not a bracha. Ooh, that's a new one.
Do you sleep on the couch a lot?
So you heard what Mr. Feder said? Mr. Feder said what the Magen Avraham says. You have to wash your hands, but you don't make a bracha. Very good, Mr. Feder. Holding. The guy's holding. Wait a minute, time out. Did you go to shir last night? Did you hear the shir before? I'm not going to say what he answered. Okay. Anyways, I know him for years, 3 years already. But he pays attention, he knows his stuff. All right. The Pri Megadim says, no. I think that's what he says. I think he says you don't have to wash your hands. Don't quote me on any of these halachas, but just to make it interesting. But remember that if you're a Friday night and you had a good shlaf, you might have to wash your hands. Mr. Feder said you have to wash your hands without a bracha. So, what? Woman, maybe you know what the Pri Megadim says. He's not telling me. But he said it's more than 20 minutes. More than 20 minutes, even under a half hour, is still Shenas Harei. What are you timing, Rabbi Shomron? Huh? 25 minutes. He's making pshara. Here you go. It's a good accountant. Don't say no one. Menachem Ateh has my back every single time, guaranteed. All right, Zog the Gemara. What? It's for sure Shenas Harei. I don't know Shenas Keva, but it's for sure Shenas Harei. I'm saying, what is the shear of Shenas Harei? It's between 20 and 30 minutes, something like that. Okay. By me, when I fall asleep on the couch, the shah is if I have to bench or not. Because like 3 hours later, it's like all of a sudden, hey, it's hello, it's 1 o'clock, where are you? He says the Gemara, we have another problem. Okay, so you tell me that the guy wasn't paying attention, he went to the mikvah and he wasn't thinking about it, and maybe he has to go to the mikvah again. However, if he forgot, if he wasn't paying attention, maybe he walked into a room with a dead body, and that's tumas meis, and that requires the hazah, the sprinkling of the paraduma water on the 3rd and 7th day. You're right. He went to the mikvah. He didn't forget. Had the tavel al das bias migdash. Had the tavel al das bias. I skipped. Oh, yishkoyach. Omer Reb Doistoi bar mason. Omer Reb Yochanan hesach hadas tzarich hazah shlishi v'shvi. Okay, that part I said. I didn't say who said it. Okay. By the way, the shir is going to be over now, 10 seconds later than usual, because I have to go back. Fine. So, let's say Mashiach comes today. Halavai comes today. And all you guys went to the mikvah. I know you all went to the mikvah this morning. Could you go into the Mishkan? Could you go into the Azara? He comes, let's go. We're going to our Beis. Build the Beis HaMikdash. Can you go? I went to the mikvah, I'm tar. The answer is no. Why? Oh, Mr. Feder Nachamal said, you have to have kavanah. You have to have kavanah. I'm going to the mikvah in order to go to the Azara. And since you weren't thinking about the Azara, you didn't think Mashiach was coming, so too bad, you have to go to the mikvah again. So that's what the Gemara says over here. If you have in mind to go to the Beis HaMikdash when you were toivel on the 7th day, so you don't have to go toivel on the 8th day. This, the Rav Yosef says you have to be toivel on the 8th day. Yes, you went to the mikvah on the 7th, and you have erev shemesh. But you didn't have kavanah to go to the Beis HaMikdash, so maybe you have to go on the 8th day. Tani loy mitzrayim amru. Before we said, it said loy mitzrayim bilvad amru. We had a kasha, not only mitzrayim but everybody else, and then we had a big kasha. How could we say that the mitzrayim has to go to mikvah? He said he doesn't go to mikvah. And Echanami, just take out one word, the word bilvad, and it says now loy mitzrayim amru. A mitzrayim does not go to the mikvah, so the two brises are reconciled. Review the holds. A mitzrayim doesn't go to the mikvah. Why? Because it's just to remind him. He already remembered yesterday. Elo kolado. Okay. Rabbi Omar, Rabbi Yehuda, l'devreim d'Rabbanan kamarlu. Rabbi Yehuda wasn't saying halacha. He was talking to the Chachamim. Lididi mitzayra ein tzarich tvila. According to me, that a mitzayra doesn't need tvila. Great. I hold the mitzayra does not need tvila. So why did he say in the Brayso that mitzayra doesn't need a tvila? Because he's talking to them. Liditchu oiduli easy. Would you agree to me, my beloved? We once learned that's pshat. I don't know if that's the real thing. But according to you, you say that a mitzvah needs a tefillah. It should be everybody. Don't you say everybody? And what do they say? Rabbana, no. Mitzvah dayish betuma, kol adam lo dayish betuma. What does that mean? A mitzvah is steeped in his tumah. He's a piece of tumah. He's a mitzvah. So you think he cares if he touches a rat, he touches a this. He doesn't care about anything. He never cares about tumah. Now that he's becoming tahar, he has to be super careful. We have to be worried about him. We have to be worried about a mitzvah a lot more than a regular human being. So when he comes to the Beis Hamikdash, throw him into the mikveh again. But Kol Adam, why should we be concerned that he might have been tamei? Rav Yosef, Neimer Rabbanon, the pligi alei the Rabbi Yehuda. These Rabbanon that argue in Rabbi Yehuda, they say you have to go to the mikveh in the morning, and Rabbi Yehuda says you don't have. Kiben Zoyma Sfir Lahu, like Ben Zoyma that says that going to the mikveh the first time of the day is a deraisa. Over here that talks about a mitzvah. The Rabbi Yehuda says the mitzvah does not have to go to the mikveh. It's just to tell you that. Why does it say mitzvah? Not to exclude everybody else, but just to show how powerful Rabbi Yehuda is, that he argues even on a mitzvah that he doesn't have to go to the mikveh on the day. Or Dilma, or perhaps shani mitzvah the daish betuma. Maybe it's only a mitzvah that has to go to the mikveh. Shani mitzvah the daish betuma. It's only mitzvah that has to go to the mikveh because he's so involved with this tumah that only he has to go to the mikveh, but other people don't have to go to the mikveh. Have a wonderful day. וכל אבוני ישראל ואחינו גומץ ישראל עשונו בצור ושיב יאוהב בין ביום ובין ביבשה. המוגים ירחם עליהם ויציאו ניצור לברך ומפעיל להם ושוב יהודה שתו והגלו בזמן קורא ורימה הרומין.
שכוח רבני. שכוח רבני.
Hello, Zevi Shur.
Hello, Daddy.
That's because the tumah
I don't think he can hear you.
at night.
He's sitting in the front row, but that's as far as it gets.
Of course. That's an hour. That's a nice one. It's different. What's going on, Sadi? What's going on?
YouTube is off now.
I'll have to upload the Zoom.
Oh, they had drains over there next to the Mizbeach. They had drains. There, you know what? The whole floor is full of blood, full of water. Drain there.
Rain has been all around the world overseas.
Exactly. Shkoyach for coming. Thank you, Rabbi Yakov. Yeah, well, you live so close. You got to come up more often now. How'd you get here? You drove it? Oh, the bus. It goes all the way to
Zevi.
You're looking good with the beard. Looks good. No, it looks
before.
Have a good day, everybody.
Have a good day.
Have a good day.
Have a great day.
Stay safe in England.
Shkoyach, thank you so much for coming. Yeah.
Can we see the Zevi? Can we see the Zevi Shupa?
If you go on the other MDY, he's on there.
Oh, he's on there.
Walking out with Rabbi Rosner.
Like in the Brisa. The different Brisa. One says that way. Tzaddik.
Which David Shiloh? Which David Shiloh?
Is it Zevi Shupa or MDY?
Do you say lo need the Torah l'malchei Shoretz by school? You say
Wait, they don't know that you're this guy.
Have a good day, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Right.
We have a new person on board.
Hello.
On Zoom.
He's not new.
No, but the Malka. It's in the other night.
No, this other person.
I came on enough.
Rabbi Yosef Kitay.
He's gonna give us. He's gonna say some mirrors.
Awesome.
Yeah, but we don't go back.
Say
Rebelli, what was David Shiloh?
Also,
What?
you
What
say
was David Shiloh today?
Hold on, let me go out.
Official?
Morning.
Car right at the bottom. Next to another car. Next to a silver car.
Welcome to Sanel. You're new here.
Morning.
Who's in here?
He was at the Malcolm at Shabbos.
No, that's very good.
I've been on live before, but it was a long time ago. But
You're making a grand entrance now.
We have another new guy also on Zoom.
1 second, Nasana, what's your Shiloh? Nasana?
No, by tefillin, you don't say let's say a person, has to go to the bath. I mean, whatever it is, he doesn't have. Only by Kriya Shema. No, because if it's inside, you don't say. You don't say. You could say Kriya Shema. You could say Kriya Shema sometimes, but you can't put on tefillin. Maybe sometimes it's possible. It's a different standard.
Is somebody talking and learning here? What's going on?
I want to know
From the Sanel to the Shiur of Eli.
is there a different standard by tefillin, say putting on tefillin or saying Kriya Shema? It says by Kriya Shema it says but
You want to know if there's a difference between the two?
Yeah, I mean, it's a different standard.
Well, Krishma is a deraisa, so that's why we're talking about it.
Is it possible that you can't put on tefillin, but you could say Kriya Shema? I mean, is such a thing?
I highly doubt it. But you're talking about the issa deraisa of not being mekayim the mitzvah deraisa. What else is?
No, I'm saying if you're not nucky inside, or whatever.
Inside is something else. Yeah, tefillin has another halacha. Shemi yafiach. You might smell up or whatever. That's not covered for the tefillin. That's different than saying Kriya Shema.
Shema yafiach, what is it, Rabbanan?
No.
No, but I'm saying the person has to go to the bathroom.
That's why you can't wear tefillin the whole day. That's why you can't. You can, but that's why people are not wearing tefillin all day, or that's why you're not allowed to fall asleep in your tefillin.
No, but I'm saying, mamish, if a person has to go to the bathroom, he's allowed to say Kriya Shema, but can't.
Yeah, well, that's something else. That's about you're over and about the shaksu. If you really have to go to the bathroom, you're over and about the shaksu.
Okay, but there's
but you're right in terms of are you over on saying Kriya Shema when you have to go to the bathroom? The answer is no. There's another issue about the shaksu. That issue of soya, the issue of soya doesn't exist. I don't think. Just because.
What about for tefillin? Tefillin.
That would be a problem for tefillin, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it says in Hilchos Tefillin. Now that it was tefillin.
You have to have a guf naki. Tefillin, you have to have a guf naki. So you say, how come with Kriya Shema you don't have to have a guf naki? Saying when you're talking about b'rוך, you should have. I don't know.
Billy, when are you coming in?
Good day, everybody.
Is anybody buying a bidet? That's all I want to know. Is anybody going out to buy one? $25 on Amazon.
Oh, they're awesome.
Yossi Klein's going to be giving it out with the next tomorrow.
I've been looking
again with the next
It's
tomorrow.
awesome. People in America know about this. They don't know about
it. The best thing.
If I bought one,
I'll have a mikveh in my bathroom every single day.
It really works. It really works.
Oh, it's the best. It's the best.
By the way, I forgot to say this. I once bought a Toto toilet for, I think it was $1,000. I never hooked it up because I didn't have electric. It basically has a heater. It heats up the water, and then it fans you up. It's meshuggah. Like does everything for you. You walk into the room, the toilet seat goes up, and the whole it's a meshuggah.
Do you have to make nashiyot afterwards?
Does it make you a coffee while you're sitting there?
It does everything.
Is ashiyot also
appropriate? Let's ask Robert Hammer. What do they use in Australia?
Boys, I want to point. I know that I'm going to distract him, but if you look at Chaim Snow, he has a smile from side to side. He's going to be smiling out for the next 10 minutes. You just know these conversations, mamish. He loves this stuff. He loves it.
That's why we stay on.
No, I bought it. I bought it the bidet and had it sitting around until those are run on toilet paper. Then I said, you know what? I better get this installed. I quickly installed it.
You make your $25 back in 2 months.
No, you
should know why I'm smiling. I'm smiling.
Ellie.
I'm driving my wife to an appointment. She asked me. She says to me, "This is Gemara. What you're learning now?"
That's great.
Ellie.
Ellie. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
You didn't warn us if there's women listening, not listening. What's going on?
Rebelli, when are you coming?
Yeah, we'll be the only one.
Rebelli, when are you coming in?
Now I know everything.
Rebelli, when are you coming in America?
Yes. Yeah.
His wife is going to censor the share
Ellie,
now.
when are you coming to the United States?
My wife is on her way right now.
What about you?
No.
No.
You coming to me for Shavuos?
Coming for Shavuos here? You doing the all-nighter?
Oh, you coming to me for Shavuos?
I'm here for Shavuos.
He doesn't
My
like your
wife
cheesecake.
is stuck in America. We'll see.
What about you? When
If
are
you
you
take a
coming?
flight might to Shabbos, you'll be here Sunday morning. It's not a big deal.
What's the point?
You
You
don't-
don't be
We'll
like
have a Shavuos all together.
Stroll.
Then you have 2 days of Yontif. It's a schmuck over here.
That's
A
the
lot
only
of
reason
milk.
my wife wants to
A
live in.
lot of
If there's
cheesecake.
one reason why she wants to live in Israel, the only thing she can come up with is I don't have to do 2 days Yontif.
But she goes back to America. She does.
No.
Yeah, Pesach,
That's
it's all
why he
wrong.
wants us.
She had,
That's
she
why she
had
wants.
to go back. It's not by her choice, but yeah,
Then wait a week, huh?
no.
You have a
Okay.
new
Oh,
person
like
on,
she'll be
on
back.
Zoom.
She's gonna try to be back, but we'll see. See what
Well, we
happens.
can have this chus